If you've ever thought reinvention is impossible later in life, or doubted that fashion and function can coexist at a construction site, today's guest is about to shatter every one of those limiting beliefs. Meet Brenda Maxx Cumbie McGee, carpenter, designer, model, and founder of GottStreet Blues, a fashion-forward workwear brand created for women who build, weld, dig, create, and do. With a life story that spans childhood toolboxes, high school metal shop, art and architecture studies, decades of hands-on construction, and a surprise return to modeling in her 60s, Maxx is proof that creativity, grit, and style don't retire, they evolve. In this episode, Maxx shares how her early experiences paved the way for her current entrepreneurial adventure, what it feels like to launch a brand later in life, how she's navigating ageism, and what she sees on the horizon as an older adult blazing her own trail. And if you're 60 plus and considering launching something bold and new, Maxx has some wonderful advice just for you. Get ready to be inspired by a woman who builds with purpose, designs with passion, and lives life completely uncaged by age. Welcome to Don't Be Caged by Your Age, Maxx. How are you?
I am so great. Thank you so much for inviting me on. When I heard about your podcast from a couple of other podcasters, in the same day, mind you, they were like, "You've got to meet Ande." I am so excited. I have been waiting for today.
Oh, me too. Me too. And you know, we're all about aging out loud here on the Don't Be Caged by Your Age podcast. So please share with everyone where you live right now and how many years the world has enjoyed the gift of your presence.
I now live in Chicago, Illinois. I've been here for 40 plus years. I love Chicago. And I am 65 years young.
Woohoo! I got my clappers out, everybody. You know, we like to celebrate the age out loud and proud. We're trying to get rid of that stigma, shatter those ageist beliefs, not just the ones the society has, but the ones inside our head that we need to dissolve because they're filled with limitations for how to thrive after 65. So, Maxx, you're absolutely right. I was so excited to get to talk to you and learn about you. And I love that other podcasters said, you got to talk to Ande. And here we are today enjoying this delicious conversation. Listener, I want you to know this woman is just mind-blowing. Let me just give you a little bit of background and then have Maxx tell us more about her experiences. So from building imaginative dirt piles with your kid brother's Tonka dump truck, to taking metal shop in high school and then mastering the rigors of the modeling and construction industries, how did these early hands-on and creative experiences shape you for what you're doing today with GottStreet Blues? Take us back to those little origin stories of yours, Maxx, because they're amazing.
It started with my brother's red Tonka truck. He got a red Tonka dump truck for Christmas. I got a baby doll and a carriage. I was pissed. To say the least. I was really not happy. I wanted that red dump truck, and my father and my grandfather were like, "Oh, but the baby doll's so pretty. This is what you should have." No, I shouldn't. And they bought me a metal. It was made out of metal, whole kitchen set. And I ain't cooking and I ain't having babies. What's wrong with you guys? I want that red truck. So my brother was really tiny growing up. He was just short, and I used to just beat him up. I was a big girl. There's my dogs. I was a big girl, and so I used to beat him up and take his truck, and then I would play with it. And he would get mad, and I didn't care. But this one day, I went to the grocery store with my mom. It was my week. Every kid got a week to go to the grocery store. You had to go do all the running around and grab everything for her. She kind of sat in the front of the store and said, "Go get this, this, this." So we were hitting the aisles, right? But when you got done, you got to pick out a toy in the little toy section. And I picked out a conveyor belt that actually moved and it would carry things. So my mother's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I get home, and one day I just decided, let's have a construction site. Got that red dump truck again, got my conveyor belt going. So her side garden, which was absolutely fabulous, turned into my construction site, and I was moving flower bulbs from one end of the garden to the other, and turning dirt in the conveyor and carrying it in the truck. And I was out there for hours.
Oh
And I
my
remember her
gosh.
coming to the side door just checking. And I'm like, what's the matter? She's like, nothing. I'm just checking. Are you okay? You need anything? No, I'm good. Out there for hours.
I love
So
that.
I don't even know if I knew that I was headed in this direction. I just knew I liked that red truck and it carried dirt and it actually moved and the back went up and all the dirt would come out. So I just thought it was a cool thing. Now, my brother was my playmate. We're a year and 3 months apart.
Oh.
He was my guy. Taught me everything about sports and
Well,
all that kind of stuff.
and in our generation, right? When we entered middle school, and maybe even high school too, right? We had what was called home ec for the
Yeah.
girls to go to and shop for the boys to go to. Your
Yeah.
high school, of course, had even more. I mean, tell us a little bit about what you got exposed to.
Oh, wow. Home ec and stuff was in junior high. We had elementary, junior high, and high school. And I'm finding some people didn't have that. The middle school was kind of cut out. But junior high was home ec. And it was an entire wing where we had full kitchens with about 12 to 15, set up stoves and all that stuff. Then there was a sewing room with sewing machines. Then we had, oh God, what else? We had
Typewriter, probably, right? The
typewriter,
typing.
yes, the typewriter room. We had the whole business thing to teach you how to do a checkbook. Everybody got a checkbook so we could learn how to do the registers, write a check. And then high school, at Pioneer High School, which sits diagonally across from the University of Michigan's big house. So you got this big M staring you in the face, and of course that's where every kid wanted to go to college. I didn't have that desire, but we had a wing there was a full auto shop that we had, and we had metal shop. There was welding in that shop. There was the art studios. There was the architectural drawing classes down that wing. I lived in that wing between art class, metal shop, welding, and architectural drawing. The only thing I didn't do was mechanic. I didn't go into the shop to fix the cars. And they literally had the doors that opened up, the garage doors where they could pull in cars and work on them. So it was like this cool place to be.
Very
and
cool.
I was down there all day.
And
all
what was
day,
it?
That was my area.
But what was
and I
it?
was the only girl in there. I just want you to know.
Well, I was going to ask, like, what was it like? What was it like to be the only girl? But also, how were things at home? Because you weren't adapting to what our mothers would have said a successful outcome for their daughter would be, right? What are you doing in the auto body shop?
But here's the nice thing about my mother, Ande, is she wanted us to be whoever we wanted to be.
Oh, I love that.
And I thought that was pretty awesome. I thought everybody's mom was like that, only to find out no. So she knew that's where I was most of the day. The guys really didn't bother me too much because I was there, and I was actually kind of good at what I did because I was a creative person. Right. So building that metal box, building the toolbox, building, stick welding. Oh my God. Love stick welding.
So you graduated out of high school. You were thinking college isn't for me. So how did your career progress? And how did you start getting those lived experiences that prepared you for what you're doing today?
At 12 years old, I knew I wanted to be a model.
A model?
Yes, at 12 years old, because my mother, it was the way she dressed. My mother had the dresses with the matching gloves and hats and shoes, and I used to go play dress up. And I loved her clothes, and I just love clothes. So I just would stand in the mirror and look at myself and pose, and she would, cringe because my poor little heels are in the middle of her high heel shoe, and she's like, she'd break my shoe. So she had this love of fashion that I ended up with. And so at 12 years old, I told her, I said, Mom, I want to be a model. And so just as I got out of high school, I went and got a job. I thought I wanted to go to college, and then I realized I did not. I had actually wanted to go over to Eastern Michigan, which was a town over in Ypsilanti, and I didn't want to go. And then I told my mom, and she's like, just get a job and figure it out, right? So I'm in a savings and loan place, working down in data processing. And I just decided I'm going to go be a model. So I told my mom, she said, well, let me stop you, because I had to go down to Detroit. She said, you're a tomboy and you walk like a guy. She said, you walk upstairs, you sound like a herd of cattle going across the floor. She said, I really need you to go to finishing school. You need to learn how to walk, you know, a little bit softer and more like a lady. Okay, Mom. So I ended up at Austin Modeling and Finishing School in Dearborn, Michigan. And I graduated from there 18 months later, and I could walk as softly as any proper lady. And it was hilarious because we did walk with books on our heads and all that kind of stuff to keep our posture up.
And how tall are you, Max?
5'10".
Okay.
I'm 5'10".
Okay.
So I was perfect model height, but I did have to go get my nose fixed. I had my father's black and Indian nose. He's part Creek Indian, and it was like this horrendous nose. Even my mother called me the nose at times. I was like, come on, Mom. So I went and got a nose job by Dr. Beekus, of all people.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And he was recommended to me through the finishing school, and he was actually rated number 2 in the country. This man was.
Wow. So he took good care of you.
He took good
did you
care of
earn a
me.
living for a few years as a model?
I didn't do as well as I wanted because I couldn't get that skinny. Them girls were skinny. I'm a big boned girl. I mean, broad shoulders, you know, just big wrists. I have to wear men's stuff on my wrists because I have big wrists and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is rough. So I went to Chicago, moved to Chicago at 23, decided to take a chance. So while I was working, trying to be a model, I was doing other things in the evening, like working at Osco drugstore and picking up temporary jobs through temporary agencies. It wasn't until I went into plus size modeling became popular.
Oh my gosh, when did that happen? Because I'm still stuck in what we were seeing in the late 60s and the 70s, which was Twiggy and all those thin models.
It happened in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
I went into plus size, and let me tell you, my entire life and vision of modeling changed because I was working all the time. Do you remember Montgomery Wards? I know they were based
Of course.
here. I was in their ads every week, every single week. There was a store, Evans. I was in their ads every week. Then there was Sears, J.C. Penney's. I did them all because, you know, Chicago was a catalog place.
Yeah, I was going to say the capital of catalogs.
Yes, until the catalogs are no more. But it was a catalog place. And so I got to work, and not only did I get to work, but they fed us. So we used to just terrorize the as they call them, straight size or regular size models. We would be sitting there stuffing our face with bagels and cream cheese. And, oh, so good.
And all the skinny models were going to be looking at you
man.
like...
They hated us.
Of course.
And then the photographer would come by and, girls, you got to eat up because we don't need you losing any weight. Okay. It was funny. So then actually that's when I really started making money. But what happened is you can make good money modeling, but you have no health insurance, you have no benefits, right? So if those jobs are far and few between, you got to figure out, how am I actually living? I ended up with a female issue that I needed surgery.
Okay.
Like, what am I going to do? I got no insurance. I had to go take out a loan. Take out a loan.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
this is crazy. I even tried to get public assistance, and they were like, yeah, no, you make too much. You have a car. You'd have to get rid of your car. You have an apartment. You need to have somebody living with you. Like, okay, I ain't doing that. So took out a loan. After surgery, my mom came to take care of me. I'm 34 years old at this point. Really past the prime of modeling, right? And she's there taking care of me. She's sitting in my little one-bedroom apartment. She's at my desk that I had in the living room, and I'm laying on the couch, and the phone rings. And I was leaning to get up. She's like, I got it. Just stay there. She answers the phone, and all I hear is, oh, hi, how you doing? Yeah, okay. Yep, she can do that. Okay. Yeah, she's going to do that. Mm-hmm. Yep. And she's just, and I'm like, who is she talking to? And what is it that I'm going to do? Found out it was my dear friend Larry Cooper, who I'd started modeling for on Anheuser-Busch booth. He was the consultant that put the booth in. And one day we were just talking, and I told him how his booth was put together. And he's looking at me like, and how do you know that? I said, because I'm looking at it. I'm looking So I ended up becoming a carpenter because my mother told me I was going to be a carpenter. And when you're 34 years old and your mother says you're going to do this, you turn back into the 12-year-old and say, yes, ma'am. So that's how that happened.
She had been given great advice for quite some time, though. I have to tell you, your mom was you be you, but also she came in with the great advice for your modeling. And now it's almost like, the divine is speaking through mom and saying, okay, let's go become a carpenter. And so, like, what was it like to show up that first day of work? I mean, I can't imagine.
Oh, Lord, do you really want to know, Andy? I look like a fool. When I look back on it, I said, oh my God, what was I thinking? I came in a pair of dress jean overalls, right?
You want to look good.
White t-shirt, white V-neck men's t-shirt. I had a red bandana wrapped around my curls, and I had them piled up on my head with some cascading down, with a teeny tiny pink toolbox that had Tinker Toys in it when I look at it now. It was Tinker Toys. And I walk in, and a pair of gym shoes, not even work boots. And I walk in, and the entire booth stopped. I didn't know what to expect in there. I just knew Larry was there to take care of me, right? And it was funny because there was a stream of men coming by that booth all day. From the time I got there until the time I left. But it got a little chaotic, and Larry shut the whole booth down for about 15 minutes to give a lecture about who I was, what I was there for, what wasn't going to happen, da-da-da-da-da-da. And everybody went back to work, and they started treating me like one of them.
Excellent.
Okay.
And
I did not know at the time, though, Andy, my future husband was in that parade of men coming by that booth. Just didn't know it.
I love that. So what I'm hearing, and how long did you spend in this company learning carpentry and building your...
I was on that show floor with this company for 5 years, almost 5 years. Mm-hmm. And somewhere it wasn't even 5 years, maybe a couple of years, because they asked me to come work in the building at McCormick Place. They have shop carpenters. So I went into the shop, and I learned how to make cabinets, laminate. I mean, I was doing all hands-on training.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know about trade shows and things, McCormick Place is Chicago's Javits Center. It's where all the big, big, big trade shows come in, and that's an important job. And what I'm seeing here is that your willingness to show up looking good, looking fine, but your willingness to put yourself out in the line and not know, and then having that experience of not knowing and making a fool of yourself, it can either cause trauma for the rest of your life, or you can take it and use it as a launching pad. And it sounds like that's what you did.
I did. It was important to me. I'm not a quitter in my head. I don't quit. You have to beat me into the ground to get me to leave somewhere. So I realized I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked the not knowing what the day would bring. I liked being able to see what I did that day. And I work with a cast of characters.
And folks, we are chatting with the amazing, oh so fabulous Brenda, quote, Maxx, M-A-X-X, Cumbie McGee, carpenter, designer, model, and founder of GottStreet Blues. Go visit GottStreet Blues to see everything she's doing. And I want to get right into that because I want to find out, here you were building your portfolio of knowledge. What inspired you to launch GottStreet Blues? How old were you when you decided to launch GottStreet Blues? And what does working clothes for working women, which is your tagline, really mean in terms of design, fit, and function?
Started the year I started working. It was 94, end of 94, beginning of 95. I had nothing to wear. Those cute overalls looked really cute out in the street, but they didn't function in there. There was just nothing for me to wear. So I started thinking about GottStreet then, and I actually drew up designs. I went and got the legal name registered and everything with the state. The name came from my best friend, who I grew up with. Her name is Monita Thompson, and Monita actually lives on GottStreet. So we were trying to throw some names around, and she said, "Why don't you just call it GottStreet?" I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool! Yeah, let's add blues for like blue collar worker or denim or whatever, blue
Right.
jeans." So we just that's how the name came up, and then it got sat on the back burner because as I moved up at work, I was there more often than any place else. I mean, I blew through relationships, missed all kinds of family functions and friend functions because I was always at work. The trade show industry is really a different kind of animal. You can be there 24 hours, 48 hours at a time, and people are like, nobody works that much. Yeah, they do.
Well, you have to set up, tear down, do all the things for that particular trade show that's coming in.
Yes, we won't even talk about the carpet in the middle of the night, the maintenance on the booths, and all this other stuff. So it was, I can tell you this, it had a high divorce rate. No one was never at home. These guys were getting divorced left and right. The wives thought they were messing around. They're not. They're at work. We were at work 24/7. So it was a thought back then. And then let's fast forward 26 years later. The pandemic hits. Everything shuts down. McCormick shut down almost immediately. And I am sure all the other convention centers as well, because you couldn't have,
That's right.
travel. So I was fortunately 60 years old, just turned 60 in March, and it shut down, I think, a week or 2 weeks after my birthday. Everything shut down. So, I'm scrambling, trying to pay bills and make sure the house is still ours, right? My husband has been retired for a while, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I retired because I could. I could retire at 60 with full benefits. My husband sent the papers in. I wasn't quite there yet, but he was like, yeah, you can go ahead and retire, right? And so then I looked at him. I said, what am I going to do? He said, how about start that business you've been talking about forever? So that's how it happened. August 10th, 2020, I re-registered GottStreet Blues with the state of Illinois.
That's my birthday, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
August 10th. So those who are listening who know
that gives you chills. That gives you chills. And so I did all that, legal stuff and everything, and had my young cousin in Texas make me a logo, and that was great. Got that trademarked, and then I sat there because one, you couldn't do anything. What were you gonna do? I couldn't go out. I couldn't go meet people.
Well, you weren't going. You couldn't start ordering from China. A lot of their clothing comes from China, or manufacturing facilities were shut down, so it's not like you could go in and start designing your jeans.
Right, exactly. So I started trading online stocks. I was always interested. And this young woman named Shima Strickland, she lives in California, inboxes me and says, hey, if you need anything, let me know. I'm here to help. And being that 60-year-old cynical person, I have been through enough in life to know, hey, who are you? What do you want? I ain't trusting you.
I'm not sending you money either.
Exactly. She never asked for money, but it was like, nobody just offers up help.
Well, how did she find you?
We traded online together.
Oh,
We were in a group.
beautiful.
And we were trading stock together.
So she heard, well, probably when you're in a group chat, that you have this idea percolating.
Actually, no. She was teaching me how to catch a trade, see a trade, watch how it's developing and do that, right? And so then one day, yes, we did start chatting. And I said, okay, she seems okay, right? And then we did start chatting about our lives. I knew about her husband, her kids. She knew about my husband, no kids, and this business. And I said, man, I don't even know what to do. It was now getting into late 2021. We were still kind of shut down. It was not great. And I said, I don't know the next steps to take. She said, what do you mean? I said, I don't know what to do next. I said, I got all the legal stuff done. She said, well, you need a pattern maker. I said, a what?
Say what now?
She said, hey, I went to fashion school and got a degree in design and fashion. She said, and then I realized I didn't want it. That's not what I wanted to do.
Oh, that gave me chills. Are you kidding?
I said, are you, and I said that, are you kidding me? And she's like, yeah. She said, you need a pattern maker. She said, you can't do that, can you? I said, I don't know nothing about it. She said, then you need a pattern maker.
I was over in Auto Body when they were teaching that in sewing.
I made an apron and that was it. It wasn't even that good. So I found a pattern maker here in Chicago, the Chicago pattern maker, Social Herrera Shear. And we could not get together until I think it was July of 2022. Because she wasn't seeing people, her business is in her house. And I understand when you have small kids, you don't want people in your house that you don't know. And COVID was still, a thing. And so that's when we got started. And I gave her my drawings and I said, I know they're not great, and she's like, oh no, they're fine. I get it. I see what you want. So I was going to do the pants and a shirt at the same time until I realized these pants were really kind of complicated. I had a lot of stuff on because in my head, put everything on those pants that you didn't have, right?
Right.
Because I'm wearing just regular women's jeans from wherever that didn't hold up. And so we got to developing. She said, it's going to take about 18 months before we can get these to market. She said, that's how long it takes to get things correct. And I was like, well, I thought it would take a couple of months. She's like, no. And so I'm finding out 18 months was elusive to me. It has now been almost 3 years and we haven't gotten the fit right. I got ghosted by the first manufacturer. He left me hanging. Oh. He made the prototype. It looked amazing. When he went to make the samples, they did not look as great. She didn't even like them. And we kind of didn't communicate that, but we're looking at him like, what happened? And then he ghosted me. That was 8 months of being.
Oh, no, as a former startup mentor for 8 years and a 4 times founder, I can tell you so many stories. I know that Billy Footwear, his first entire inventory, 85% of it had to be thrown out, and they had a big launch day for his special footwear for folks who have been disabled. And it's one story after another. Jewelry, people are bringing things in. It goes on and on. It is when you have inventory, when you have something that's being manufactured and made, it is really hard to take that idea into
paper to reality, right? It's terrible. And I was so upset and disappointed that I just couldn't function. It was like, I don't know what to do, but fortunately I wasn't so paralyzed. I started to resource materials, right? And I started finding places here in the States for material. I grew up in a union household. I was union. I did not want to go out of the country.
No.
People were throwing names at me. Oh, this manufacturer is great, but they're in China, Indonesia, Mexico. I don't want to go there. Do you not understand? And it was very difficult finding a manufacturer in the United States, let alone Chicago. So I thought I found this company. I went and met with them. They said, oh yeah, we can make your pant, blah, blah, blah. Only to find out, now here a year later, you can't make my pant.
Oh.
You're doing a terrible job. It looks awful, right? So in the meantime, I'm out here putting myself out on social media, which is kind of weird for me as a boomer because I don't get this constant content and tell everybody your life story. Oh, I'm eating a sandwich today. Okay, whatever, right? So I ended up meeting this woman, and she's 76, and I love this. Her name is Pat Trotman. She calls herself an apparel engineer. She has been in the business forever.
Oh my goodness.
And I just decided, let me contact her. Let me message her. She messaged me back. I was so excited. We were messaging each other back for about 45 minutes. And she told me about a convention up in New York called PI Apparel, which is product innovation. I was like, absolutely. So, I have been bootstrapping this whole thing since I started. And so let's face it, women trying to get financing is tough, I don't know what. The pandemic didn't make things any better.
No. The last time women got funded was during the .com. 2% of any kind of funding go to women. It's awful. And
it's even worse for black women. It's
terrible. It's less than 1% for black women. So here you are, and anybody who's tried to bring food to market, waving wildly here, You know, it's so hard. You get folks who say, oh, I can do that. And then you give them a lot of money to manufacture something that doesn't come out even close to what you want. And it's time and again of being so frustrated. And it's a different level of frustration than a service or a SaaS, a software as a service type, tech company. This is, you've got product on the floor. You have a thing called waste. You're going to be doing inventory. The overhead is so high. So it's not just discouraging that it's not getting made to your specifications. It's costing a lot of money up front. And now, we have a great place here in Massachusetts that loves to fund women who are bringing products to market. Just saying. So I'll let you know about them offline. But how did you keep your entrepreneurial spirit moving forward? I mean, you're in your 60s now. It's been about 4 years of this trial and error. You're learning how to be an owner, not an employee. You're having to step into a role that's completely new. The pants, you know what you want. Construction, you know who your target audience is. That is going to be fine when you bring the product to market. But it's getting the darn product to market and not giving up along the way. And you said earlier, you're not a quitter, which is wonderful. But you also have to be a fierce problem solver when you're an entrepreneur.
I was the fixer in the family.
There you go. And
I was the fixer in the family.
And so for someone who's tuning in now going, well, I want to thrive after 65, but I don't know if I want to thrive that way. Where are you today, and how are you feeling about where your business is at today?
Here's what just happened. When I was in New York, speaking with Pat, and she had a friend named Christian L. Harris with her, and he looked at me as I'm telling them what's going on, and this is what happened. And I'm showing Pat the picture of the pants, and she's like, this is wrong, this is wrong. And I'm impressed. You're looking at a picture telling me what happened, right? He said, you have to find your tribe, honey. Find my tribe? He said, yes, you need to find somebody who's small, who does denim, and does what you do. So he gave me this gentleman's name up in Portland, Oregon. I said, Portland? I said, oh my God. I said, if I go up there, I got to take knives. Isn't that where all the serial killers go? Up in the Northwest area. I said, I've watched enough Criminal Minds to know that's where they hang out. And he's looking at me like, yeah, okay, this chick. So he gives me the name. I contact this gentleman last week. We talked for over an hour. He literally stopped his car. He was driving, pulled over. He said, call me at this is my personal number. I want you to call me and call me. We talked for over an hour about what I was trying to do, what he's doing. He worked 10 years at Levi Strauss. 10 years. So when the universe starts to align you with people, and oh my God, I'm getting chills.
Me too. I just got chills too.
My angels are over here like that's it.
I just got chills too. Yeah.
So it was this great conversation. So he wants to work with social. He wants to work with me. He said, we'll get your fit together. And we both want to change the apparel industry, how it works.
Yes.
So that inventory that you carry, that stores carry, how about we do it like they do print-on-demand T-shirts?
Just-in-time clothing. It's where we're headed, people.
That's it. When you want to buy something, what I will have is every sample and every size that you need, every length. If you want to come try them on, you can try them on. I plan on traveling to every trade show, every women's trade meeting, different factories, so these women can see the pants and they can try them on, right?
Yes.
You can order them, and as you order, we send that order to Portland. I am convinced Portland's it, if third time's the charm, and you'll get your pants. So him and I really aligned in wanting to change the apparel industry. And that's how you stay positive, when you come up with ideas how to work something, and then you find people that think like you.
Absolutely. And this is so sustainable. I have another person who actually has VC money as well for sustainable clothing, because when you can do just in time, especially around something that is a high carbon footprint like denim, you know, it's so important that you not have waste, that you don't have something that's not going to fit the first time. I love this Something Fierce. And and listener, are you enjoying this conversation as much as I am? If yes, please join the movement to end ageism and celebrate pro-aging. For just $5, you can sponsor the podcast and help amplify inspiring voices like we're hearing today with Maxx, break age-related stereotypes, and help us reach more listeners worldwide. Visit buymeacoffee.com/Ande Lyons, and let's make aging a journey of joy and possibility together. And this is something that you're doing so well in and representing what it's like to have an idea and just get the disappointment again and making the, quote, wrong decisions with people. You don't know what you don't know. And boy, when you go through each of these, as we just had a speaker at our New England Podcasters group tell us, fail it till you nail it. And so that's what you have to be comfortable doing, and finding a way to be comfortable in that uncomfortable failing period, because that is where you're learning everything and you're refining. And what happens is somebody like this former Levi Strauss guy comes into your life, and so he knows the clothing industry, but wow, you got someone who's innovative, who's looking at the future, because right here down the road in New York City, you can walk into, I don't know, it's like clothing museum or something place, but they have a 3D printer. And you can say, I want that shirt, or I want that dress, or I want those pants, and out it comes. So that's where we're headed. That's where we need to head, because this doing mass production, telling everybody you've got to wear that color, and this is the only size. Yeah. That's just not going to work. So many wonderful things are coming together for you, Brenda, Maxx. And so what I get so excited about is here you are, 65, and you're fired up. And you know,
I'm going to tell you something. That technology that I learned in New York, they are now scanning your body to get measurements.
That's right.
Size. And that's where this, purchasing, once you order, we'll make your product, because we can actually scan your body. So it's custom made. Let's be clear. It's custom made. Yes, it costs more, but it's also being made with quality.
It's not going to sit in your shelf or in your closet.
I don't think it's unfortunate. I think we were really the last generation, maybe part of Gen X, knew about quality clothing.
Yeah.
Because now everything's fast fashion, and it lasts you a season, or it doesn't fit right. Something is wrong. It's just, they're pushing out millions of products in a month, let alone a year. And then the waste is just
go on the TikTok shop and you'll see it. They're promoting stuff that's just going to end up in the landfill, and it doesn't dissolve, and it is not sustainable.
Synthetic fabrics are another thing.
So Maxx,
I would put stretch in my pants.
Listener, I'm not sure which episode it was back, 30-something, 40-something. We talked to Diane Gilman. She was the queen of jeans on the Home Shopping Network. She was the one who at 59 said, I want sexy jeans and for my age group, and people laughed her out of the room. So she lived in New York, Manhattan. She went down to the sewing district. And she said, this is what I want. They figured it out, and she sold, oh my gosh, $100 million in revenue over a period of time.
Sure.
But we got to get you.
Because you're old doesn't mean you want to look old.
No,
right?
And today she's 76, and now she's doing other things. But we need to put you in touch with her as well.
I think, and a friend of mine, I said, I'm getting older, and maybe by the time I want to do something, it's too late. And a friend to me, I was in my 40s when I said that, and he said, excuse me. He said, Julia Child, let's take her as an example. He said her cookbook came out in her 50s. He said that woman was on television for 30 years?
Exactly. And how about Iris Apfel? Nobody knew Iris until she was 80.
I loved Iris. And she just passed away. She was 103?
Yeah, or 101, I think. But still, she didn't hit her prime as far as people knowing her and her signature glasses and her love.
She was fabulous.
So, and what else are you going to do? This is the thing that we have to change about aging, right? here you are 65, and especially our generation, if we look back at our grandparents, they actually were kind of old at 65.
Yes.
But we're
Yes.
looking at 20, 30 years. What are you going to do? You don't want to have regrets. You don't want to end your life going, God, why didn't I?
And that, Andy, I think is the biggest thing. Even though my mother gave this great advice, she did not get to do what she wanted to do. And so she had regrets, and she told me that. She said, never have regrets. She said, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want to have regrets.
Nope.
I regret a lot of things that I didn't do. She said, but I wouldn't have had you kids if I did it. And so I got that. I understood her point. I wasn't upset. But my thing is that you can do anything you want at any time in your life as long as you believe in who you are. And I think that's what you're starting to see with women. We're starting to remember who we are.
Yeah.
Right. We don't grow up with all these insecurities and about our bodies and our hair and how we look. People put them in us, right? As we're growing, they put them in us. Let's talk about modeling. The worst friggin' industry in the world for any woman's psyche. If you are not schizophrenic going in, you're going to be schizophrenic coming out. Okay? I don't care what anybody says. Somebody is going to point out every little teeny flaw that you have. And I think they take great enjoyment in that, to see your reaction. And my thing is, it doesn't matter. I am now into my natural bohemian kind of hairstyle looks, and whatever I feel like putting on today is fine. I don't care what people think. It doesn't matter anymore. Where it mattered to me in my 20s and 30s, I remember having my model breakdown at the age of 27. Oh my God, I'm too old to model. I'm modeling at 65, for Christ's sake.
I know.
I'm doing better. Now, it may be medications. Now, I am doing all the medications they push at us seniors, but it's like I'm enjoying my life.
Well, listener, listen to Maxx, right? I mean, you can hear she's fired up. She still doesn't know how the outcome's going to be and who's going to buy and figuring out all those things and returns and all of that. But she knows she's going to solve that problem when it happens, because what else would she be doing right now? This is such an important, there's so many things involved with GottStreet Blues. It's innovation. It's on the horizon. It's how future clothes need to be today.
We're going to change the way apparel works.
And let me tell you, I know many construction goddesses. They want to look good. I'm even thinking about those on the road, construction folks. You know, you want something you're going to be able to wash again and again and again, and still have that nice feminine look for your goddess body. So this is so exciting. And this is what we want to do on Don't Be Caged by Our Age podcast, is provide representation like Maxx, so that you can go, okay, well, if Maxx is doing that and she's had like years of trying to figure things out. And let me tell you, sidebar listener, anybody launching a business, I don't care what kind it is, it does take years. So
Yes.
Get into it because you have a strong why. Get into it because it's filling you up, not anybody else, you, because your business has to work for you first before it can work for anybody else. So
Absolutely.
This representation is so wonderful. Maxx, would you please provide some inspiration for those who are 60 plus, who know they have more in them, are feeling afraid, are bumping up against those limitations that come with aging? Like, shouldn't I be slowing down? Am I going to be too feeble for this? Will my body be able to handle this? Is my mind going to be able to handle this? Please provide them some inspiration, some Maxxalicious insight that they can take with them.
The first thing I'm going to tell you, and I tell this to my husband and anybody that listens, when you get older, if you don't move, you're going to die. You need to move your body. Movement and exercise is like oil to the Tin Man. It gets in your joints and you feel better, you start to look better, and you just love yourself. And try something new. Who cares what anybody thinks about us in our 60s? I don't care. I have friends with blue, purple, red, yellow hair. I'm like, I love these chicks. They are just kind of that outer liar that just walks in and blows the whole room away, because they don't care about what people think, right? And then, as I tell people, if you have an idea pop in your head, write that idea down. Write it down, because you may forget it. We know our menopausal brains will forget everything by sundown, right? So write it down. And then I want you to expound on it. Bounce it off your best friend. Hey, what do you think about this? Because things that we use today came out of needs, right? My line's coming out of a need. There's still not a lot of clothing out there for women in construction. And my stuff is crossing over to DIYers, to gardeners, to any woman in a non-traditional kind of job. So, hey, everybody gets to wear this, right? And then just love on yourself. And when I say love on yourself, I am like at a baker's dozen for female surgeries. Man, did I get the short end of the stick on that. So I got some scars and issues that go on, and I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. Guess what? All I asked my doctors after I went through my initial 5 minutes of crying, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Then it was like, how do we fix it? They fixed it. Never had chemo, never had radiation.
Oh my gosh, congrats. Everybody, let's just take a moment. Yay, Maxx. Thank you.
Thank you. So my thing is, be grateful for the day that you're given. Be grateful that you can actually get up and get out of bed, because there's a whole lot of people our age that cannot.
That's right.
So move your body, love on your body, look at your body naked in the mirror, for Christ's sake, and say, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. My tatas hanging down to my waist. I'm good. I'm good. There's bras to lift them up. I'm good. So take care of yourself. Sunday is my day of self-care. We take long baths. I lay out in the grass and I ground. I'm hanging out with my 2 dogs because there's something about that pet love, man, that just, takes the stress away. And take care of you. And you don't have to stop until the day you stop breathing.
Amen to that.
We gotta be old? Who said we got to be old? I ain't going to be old, darn it.
We just went to pro-aging school right there with with Maxx. Thank you so much, Maxx. I've learned so much from you today. You are inspirational, and I want you, listener, please, please, please follow Maxx everywhere she goes. Tell the listeners right now where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook at GottStreet Blues, Instagram, GottStreet Blues, TikTok. I am actually the boomer of TikTok. And on...
Wait a minute, that's your handle, the boomer of TikTok?
That's my handle, boomer of TikTok.
I am all over you now. I love TikTok.
I have LinkedIn where I meet people, and that's where I got my business connections. And then I try my best. To do content every day. I had to go hire a marketer because I was terrible, and she just turned out to be a life coach who's amazing. And so she's taught me about energy, so I use that energy to keep me going.
That's right.
And so those are the sites you can catch me on. And if you go to GottStreetBlues.com, you will see all these cool T-shirts and mugs and hats. They're all trade related. And if you're a handy woman, if you call yourself the DIY queen, and that's what my mother was. She was a DIY queen, and she didn't even know it, and neither did I. And pick something up. They make great gifts.
Yes, they do. And you support a Black woman-owned business, and that is important as well.
I mean, honey, we've got a GoFundMe. We got a Kickstarter getting ready to start. We're going to get this stuff going. It's going to be out there. I'm excited, and I'm working on a book called The Firsts. This is for every woman who's ever done a non-traditional job, and she was the first woman on that job, or she was the first Black woman or Hispanic woman or Asian woman. I am out looking for all these women. So if anybody wants to contact me, hit up one of my social medias. I would love to come interview you, because I think our stories are important.
Yes, they are.
And I think a lot of us go through life and we miss being able to learn about these incredible women out here, right? And I mean, even you, Ande, who knew that you were going to be a podcaster? Did you?
2012. I had been waiting decades for this opportunity. I remember when video camera came out, and I went, God, the camera really loves me, doesn't it?
And you're good at what you do.
But, I had to wait for technology to catch up. What was I going to do? Go down to the local Channel 5, NBC affiliate, whatever, and try
to... And they wouldn't have hired you anyway, right?
Never.
They're like, we can't have these women.
No.
I mean, let's just think about all the women we saw get to do first.
Right.
Barbara Walters, right? And, you know, you had these incredible women out there and they're doing stuff. I was really hoping for that presidency, man. I
Me
was
too.
hoping for that.
That would have been
But,
delicious.
you know, I think there are so many women in this country, and I'm just talking this country. Let's not even talk about the world, but this country, that there's amazing women everywhere and that we're just itching to get ourselves out there. We are now in the divine feminine rising. So let's
It's our
take that
time.
energy
The
and
patriarchy is
let's use it.
gasping.
And if I ever hear some woman tell me they got imposter syndrome, I probably will pop you upside the head and tell you that does not exist. There is no imposters. We are all authentic, genuine people.
We got to be careful of the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, and the stories and the voices that we listen to that are not helpful. Kick them off the bus, give them a hug, or hold their hands and just say, you know what, fear and doubt, I'm walking with you, and it's okay. We're going to get through this. Oh my gosh, Maxx, I'm so happy that my fellow podcasting goddesses introduced me to you. Super grateful.
I am too. I am too. I mean, they were adamant. They were adamant.
Well, listeners, Maxx has given you the perfect example for how to bust through those ageist limitations, because the world is not done with you. You know you have something more to give. What does that look like? What does it feel like? Don't let those internalized ageist beliefs keep you from pursuing a new dream, a new opportunity. The world needs you. Your voice, how you deliver it, how you be, whatever that looks like. We're not here to judge what that looks like. It's you who is still wanted and desired today. So thank you so much for tuning in to the show. Thank you so much, Maxx, for joining me for this delicious conversation. I loved every second of it.
And thank you for having me. I really enjoyed myself.
Listeners, I'm so grateful you carved out time to tune in and grab the gems from this delicious conversation. Be sure to hop on over to Don't Be Caged by Your Age on LinkedIn or Instagram to share your thoughts about ageism and unretirement. Because in this space, your age doesn't define you, it refines you. If you are inspired by a story you hear, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe, share, rate, and review the podcast. To receive an alert whenever a new show is posted, please join the Don't Be Caged by Your Age newsletter. Every month, you'll receive links to the podcast and helpful resources for creating possibilities for your unretirement days. Thank you for tuning in. I am so excited to hear how you found ways to thrive after 65. Waving from Boston, cheers.